Hello and welcome to another Steps of Sussex live channel episode, and I hope you've had a really amazing day. Today is Wednesday the 15th of July 2020, and of course yesterday was the 14th, where the Girl Up, well, this week the Girl Up Summit has been taking place. Yesterday it was a chance for women in leadership was the topic of conversation, of which Megan took part. Now, the whole Women in Talk lecture conference took about an hour and 45 minutes. It was quite long, but it was really, really inspirational. I waited at the start and I watched it all the way through. I was also doing some live comments as well throughout that conversation. I've got the schedule in front of me. I just want to say it was just really, really, truly inspirational. The amount of speakers was just really diverse and inspiring. We had, Hillary Clinton, Priyanka Chopra Jonas, to name just a few. I mean, Hillary was really inspiring with what she said as well. And lots of people in the chat whilst I was watching live said, Hillary, Hillary, Hillary. I mean, all the way through, people were commenting, where's Megan, where's Megan? Which, kind of a little bit in a way kind of got distracted from what the other people were trying to say. I mean, obviously, it's not going to affect the big general conversation around what they were saying, but so there were so many cries for "Where's Megan? Where's Megan?" which is understandable because lots of people wanted to know where Megan was. It turns out that she was placed almost last. Basically, she was second to last speaking. So there was quite a long wait before we got to Megan. But before we got to Megan, like I say, there were so many inspirational voices, and I just hope that people were listening to them rather than just typing. Megan was always going to come on; she was always going to be there. But on the program, she was listed as being second to last. So we waited, we watched, and eventually she came on. Hello to everyone who has just dropped into the chat. Felva says it was a great speech. It was. I actually have the full transcript of the speech, and I don't know. I think I should just start by perhaps reading some of the speech. So she said, "It's such a joy to speak to you today, to young women around the world who aren't just poised to change the world, but have already begun changing the world." And of course, we remember that when Megan was younger, she wrote to Procter and Gamble, who of course were hosting this. Girl Up is sponsored by Procter and Gamble. I should change that. They weren't hosting it; they're sponsoring it. And of course, Megan already had an association with Procter and Gamble because she wrote to them when she was younger. So yeah, women have already begun changing the world. Last month, she said, I had the chance to speak to the 2020 class at my high school alma mater, which is an all-girls school in Los Angeles, of course, the Immaculate Heart High School. I said that they shouldn't see their graduation as an ending, but rather the beginning. The beginning of a journey where they can now harness their work, their values and skills, all the skills they've learned to rebuild the world around them. And I said at the time, that's why I thought that Megan had chosen the school graduation to address Black Lives Matter, because she sees the importance of education in the world, and education being a positive force, an essential force, I think, for change. She said, now many of you have already spent years embodying and yes, even enacting the change you'd like to see in the world, yet the opportunity that lies ahead for you is the same one those graduates and millions of young women around the world have as well. Of course, as she said, it echoes the feelings and thoughts of people all around the world. I want to share something with you. It's that those in the halls and corridors and places of power, from lawmakers to world leaders to executives, all of those people, they depend on you more than you will ever depend on them. And here's the thing, they know this. They know that all of you, at a younger age than any modern comparison, are setting the tone for unequatable an equitable humanity, not figuratively but literally. This is a humanity that desperately needs you to push us forcefully in a more inclusive, more just and more emphatic direction, and to not only frame the debate but be in charge of the debate on racial justice, gender, climate change, mental health and well-being, on civic engagement, on public service, on so much more. That's the work you're already doing out there. Girl Up members are organising Black Lives Matter protests around the world. You are creating films to encourage your peers to become activist leaders. You are reforming the criminal justice system. You are telling your school boards we need more mental health resources for all ages. You are leading coalitions to end gun violence. You are standing up and demanding to be heard, yes, but you're also demanding to own the conversation. Another thing about those lawmakers and leaders and executives I mentioned earlier, now many of them, better or worse, they don't listen until they have to, because the status quo is easy to excuse and it's hard to break, but it will pull tightest right before snapping. Women have always historically gotten a lot of, well, that isn't how it's done, or yeah, that's an idea, but let's do this instead. But when do we hear that as a woman? We hear that in the moments we challenge the norms. So if that's the case, I say to you, keep challenging, keep pushing, make them a little uncomfortable, because it's only in that discomfort that we actually create the conditions to reimagine our standards, our policies and our leadership, to move towards real representation and meaningful influence over the structures of decision making and power. Despite what some of you might say, this reimagining is not a zero-sum game where one side wins and the other side loses. Not at all. It is mutually beneficial and better for everyone. Because of that, that path to get there will take all of us. It will take girls and women. It will take men and boys. And I have to say, I like the fact that she mentioned that it takes everybody. It's not just women that are important in furthering the roles of women and the empowerment of women. It's also the men. The boys are also involved in empowering as well. It's a way that everybody can help empower for the benefit of everybody. It will take those that are black and those that are white collectively tackling the inequalities and structural problems that we know exist. Again, it's important to take everybody on that journey. I believe we are on the precipice of transformation. We can accelerate the pace of change. And you know what? We don't have to be satisfied with the current speed of progress. What's more, I think it's important to acknowledge the paradox of how this progress is both aided and impaired by our digital space. Your generation is often referred to as the digital natives, and you understand that our online world has the power to affirm and support as much as it does to harm. But we are not meant to be breaking each other down, and I really liked and appreciated this quote. We are not meant to be breaking each other down, we are meant to be building each other up, support each other. There will always be negative voices, and sometimes those voices can appear to be outsized, and sometimes they can appear to be painfully loud. You can and will use your own voices to drown out the noise, because that's what it is, just noise. But your voices are those of truth and hope, and your voices can and should be much louder. I know that you have already done so much and made so many people's lives better. The moment we are living through right now asks all of us to do more. It's a moment where your voices and your actions have never been more urgently needed, and we can take inspiration from women like Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, who brought New Zealand together to swiftly and boldly tackle COVID-19. And by the way, Jacinda Ardern has been admired around the world for how she has displayed leadership in the COVID-19 crisis throughout their pandemic, of how they have experienced it in New Zealand. And a lot of people have been looking to her as a role model in that form of leadership. Or Maya Moore, the WNBA star who has sat out from professional basketball since 2019 to free a man who served 20 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. And those are just two examples. As you well know, there are so many others. Believing in true equality is not enough. It's going to take more than belief. We have to work for it every day, even when it's hard, even when it makes others feel uneasy. We have to speak up for ourselves, and we have to speak out for others who struggle to be heard. Like them, I know all of you will use your voices courageously, and I also know that all of you will use them compassionately. And I liked the whole section on compassion. I feel like we do not have enough compassion in the world. She said, compassion doesn't mean we shouldn't feel anger and outrage when we see blatant injustice all around us. Of course we should, but I challenge you to broaden that feeling. The Dalai Lama famously said, compassion is the radicalism of our time. Compassion means seeing the pain and suffering of others and knowing it's our duty to try to help relieve it. Continue to believe in yourselves, believe in what makes you unique, and don't be afraid to do what you know is right, even when it's not popular, even when it's never been done before, even if it scares people, and even if it scares you. Under normal circumstances, we would have come together in person for this, and I wish we could. Yet there is something interesting about each of you being in your own community right now, because our communities are a drawing board for change. They're where your values and beliefs can be manifested and moulded into something tangible. Look, sometimes it's not obvious what to do. Often it's fear that paralyzes us and stops us from being brave and being bold. But don't underestimate that you have some of those answers within. Don't underestimate your ability to push through the fear. You have rooted in your convictions the ability to craft a world that you know is just and kind. Your gut will tell you what's right and what's wrong, what's fair and what's unfair. The hardest part, and it was the hardest part for me, is to chase your convictions with actions. If you look at the breadth of the issues we're facing right now, it's easy to get overwhelmed, I understand. So be where you are in the moment. The growth and change you're pursuing might not feel like anything day to day, but when you look back, I promise you will see it all adds up. We make better communities and a better world for ourselves step by step, and the pace of those steps is getting quicker. It's in looking at the aggregate, looking at the big picture, that you can see how far we've progressed. I am extraordinarily proud of what you've already accomplished. Please continue to honour the conviction and compassion that's awakened within you. I will be cheering you on. So will my husband. So will Archie. As you all continue marching, advocating and leading the way forward. And that is where she ended. I can see all the comments zooming up on the screen. I'll go back and read some in a moment. I also want to say that that video, the Girl Up official video, has now got over 40,000 views. I think it's one of their biggest videos on the Girl Up conference that we've been experiencing. Also, I would like to say, and I was a little bit disappointed at people, because almost immediately after Meghan went off, a lot of viewers dropped out of the live stream. I know because I was there. In fact, I actually recorded it. It went from 3,062 to 2,133 within about a minute. And I think those people, those 1,000 or so people that dropped out of the live chat, really missed something absolutely incredible, because they had a young black musician, Agnes, and she did the most incredible, she had the most incredible voice. It was haunting, it was powerful. She sang in her own native language, but also in English as well. And those people, if you were one of those people that left immediately after Meghan's speech finished, please go back, because you missed an amazing treat. The girl was incredible. Agnes was just absolutely incredible. It really touched something, and it was the perfect way to end the women in leadership part of the Girl Up conversation. It really was. So yeah, if you missed that, do go back, check out the last couple of minutes, because she was incredible, and I'm sure if you have seen it, you'll be commenting right now just how amazing she actually was. Julia Smith says, great speech and powerful. Lisa says, thanks for sharing Meghan's speech. I mean, yeah, that's my version of reading it. Do go back and watch Meghan. They did ask that nobody shared any clips of Meghan's speech without gaining permission. So I'm assuming that if someone else is showing it, that they have got permission to show it. But I kind of felt like I didn't need to republish it here on the channel because it's on the Girl Up page, and hey, I don't think you should take away from that issue. So yeah, if you haven't seen Meghan's official speech, I would say don't check out anyone else's video of her doing it. Go to the Girl Up video, because that's kind of, I think that's the one that should be getting the views, that's the one that should be getting the clicks, and also that's the one that people are going to be looking at when they look at what the viewing figures are. So yeah, I would say don't check out other people's video republishing what is on the Girl Up page. Go to the Girl Up YouTube channel, or if they've got the Facebooks and other social medias, watch it on there, because I think that's important to support that. Lisa says, excellent advice to go to Girl Up. Go to their YouTube. For people saying, have the British press reported? Yes, on Meghan's speech, it made the news. I haven't seen the physical papers today in terms of the actual imprint papers, but I have seen I think almost every online news outlet in the UK that has an online presence has made an article on Meghan's speech, because it was really impassioned, it was from the heart, and I think it struck a chord with a lot of people. Hello to HN the King, who's dropped in. Thank you so much for moderating today. Yes, I am wearing my tiara. I am wearing the Queen Mary's diamond bandeau, because we were talking about it the other day, and I just remembered that, hey, I actually quite love jewellery, so I'm going to carry on wearing it because I like wearing it, and if I like wearing it, why not? Lisa says, hi, yes, the tiaras are back. Yes, they are. Most definitely. And I'm hoping you can you see it better with my hair kind of like this? I don't know. I'm going to kind of, there you go. There you go. Vivian says, I watched the whole event. Yeah, and if you watch the whole thing, you will know what I mean about people just kept talking about Meghan. I can understand why, because a lot of people came there to see Meghan, but I felt like it took away from those people that were trying to speak. Those speakers were saying amazing things, and it came across a little bit rude, I have to say. And I know there were quite a few other people in there telling everyone, hey, Meghan will be on in a minute. Listen to the other people, give the other speakers a chance. And I have to say, I agreed with those people. I felt like, the other people needed their own moment. Meghan was always going to have her moment. It was always going to be successful. It was always going to get the attention, but those other voices were so important to be heard as well. So I'd have liked to see more people commenting on what was going on at the time rather than what was going to come up, if you get my meaning. I mean, I understand people dropping in, and saying, has Meghan been on yet? I get that completely, but there was lots of people who knew that because it was repeatedly said that she was going to be second to last. So I just felt like, if you haven't watched the whole thing, maybe don't just watch Meghan's bit, watch the whole thing, because it's almost like, I suppose, a bit like a musical album where you start at one place and then you get to another in how they've arranged all of the tracks. That's how kind of artists work, and I kind of think that it was structured in a way where you kind of need to watch it from the start to get to the end point. And Meghan was second to last, and it had such a beautiful ending with Agnes, and I was so disappointed that 1,000 people kind of dropped out of the chat, just dropped out of viewing, because they missed something. They really did miss something that was a very powerful performance. Nikki, thank you. Lauren says, no, they were commenting on an event and she was at like all the other press in other countries. There's a job, please not start this again. The press were reporting on what happened. Pia says, you're so right. As she said, the Duchess said, we should drown out noise and positive voices should be much louder. So yeah, go back and watch the whole thing if you haven't already. I am says, can you put up a picture of the Sussexes in your abode since this is Steps of Sussex? I still haven't finished this office. My calendar actually has different royals on it this year. I've got a calendar here, and it alternates. We've got the Queen there. We've got the Cambridges. We've got Harry and Meghan. So depending on what month it is, this calendar has different royals on it. But yeah, I haven't finished decorating in here. I need to. I've got an empty space over there on the wall above the radiator. I do need some new artwork to go on the walls. H.M. the King says, I wonder if they'll ever bring Archie on a Zoom call. Well, they recorded the reading of Duck Rabbit, but I don't. I don't. In terms of video call, like a Zoom call, I think it would have to be. I was just thinking there. I just needed a bit of thinking time. I think the most likely possible scenario to include Archie on a Zoom call would be some kind of maybe children's initiative. Maybe, who knows what they're looking into. Maybe it could be something about education, about starting young. Maybe it could be about how the early years affects global issues such as Black Lives Matter. Maybe they could show what they're doing with Archie in a video Zoom call. So I was just trying to think of a scenario of why and how they would possibly include Archie in a Zoom call. Of course, it's up to them entirely what they do. Ziamora, hello to you from Nevada. Laurie says her message was incredible. Would love an Archie photo bomb next time. I'm sure we all would. I did make some notes during the Girl Up Leadership Summit. I did write down a list of all the different people who spoke as well. But the one quote as well that came kind of early on, and I forget who said it, but there was a quote, the women's rights are human rights quote, which I did love. There was further bits to it as well, but yeah, women's rights are human rights, and I really liked that quote. That kind of struck a chord as well. Some of the other speakers spoke about Black Lives Matter, mental health, digital natives, don't break each other down but build each other up, of course, was I think one of the key messages to take from Meghan's speech. And as I said, I thoroughly enjoyed the end performance as well. Melissa says, love your videos, keep it up, wish I could live there. I am 50% English. Hello. My ancestors are from Wales and the English countryside and Channel Islands. I know more English history than American. Wales isn't terribly too far away from where I am, so I kind of, I get you. Hello to Rin. H.M. the King says, women's rights are human rights is Hillary's famous quote from her speech when she visited China as First Lady. Do you know what? I've learned something there because I didn't know that. But it struck me as something really powerful. It was a really powerful quote. And Hillary, of course, was front and centre as well towards the start of the leadership summit. And like I said, people actually were going a little bit crazy for Hillary as well. I think she most definitely struck a chord. Leslie says Meghan was glowing. Lots of people were commenting on how she looked. People said that she looked very fresh. People commented on the dress that she was wearing, looking really good. People were commenting on her hair. I think one person said, where can I get whatever it is she's putting on her hair? It looks really, really immaculate and gorgeous. I think Meghan's hair's longer. It did look quite a bit longer. But yeah, she looked fresh. She looked good. She looked healthy. She looked happy. So yeah, and the outfit she was wearing looked incredible too. Vivian says they covered everything in a positive way. They did. They did indeed. And thank you to Rin, who says I look good today. Thank you. Leslie says, thank you. I may say I was one of those who left after Meghan's speech, so I will go back and listen. I have listened to all the rest before of her. Oh, yeah, go back. Go back. Yeah, honestly, you missed a treat. You really did miss a treat. So go back and watch. It was the perfect follow-up from Meghan, and also the perfect ending of that whole summit. Vivian says the summit was very inspirational, such powerful young to older women speakers. There was a breadth. There was black, there was white, there was Asian, there was young, there was old, and it was all incredible. It was incredibly diverse. Dory says Agnes was incredible, saw it all very good. Yeah, she was. She was very, very much. Sean says Meghan wore her hair long and straightened when she was in the early stages of her pregnancy with Archie. Don't start pregnancy rumours. Oh my goodness, there was already enough pregnancy rumours swirling after what people were thought that they saw in Meghan's hand when she was leaving that private appointment. My goodness. Who knows about any such pregnancy? I'm not going to comment. But I think a lot of people might be hopeful of the pitter-patter of tiny Sussex feet. Juanita says, I didn't get the chance to listen to the summit, but I will definitely check it out. Thanks for the review and the excerpts. Yeah, watch it from the start. It is long, so you might want to watch it in sections or chunks, whatever. But yeah, I mean, even if you just listen to the audio, watch the whole thing, because like I said, it's a journey. It's designed to start in one place and then it gets to the end point. And Meghan is second to last, and the very, very ending is just so poignant and haunting and empowering as well. And also energizing. I also would like to comment on how energizing the whole thing was. It really empowered and energized people. Lauren says, even if she is pregnant, remember it is nothing to do with us. No, they are private individuals, so there would be no photo. No. And in the likely possible event that Meghan could potentially be pregnant, usually people announce a pregnancy once the first trimester is over, so at the 3-month mark, and I don't think that will be any different since Harry and Meghan have stepped down from being members of the royal family. In terms of being working members of the royal family, of course, they are still valued members of the family. But no, I don't think that will be any different. I mean, I'm sure they will probably, make, if she is pregnant, and only if, whenever she may be in the future, I think probably 3 months would be normal to announce a pregnancy, and I don't think they would be any different to that. Right, okay, I am going to go in a minute, unless there's any really pertinent questions or anything that you'd really want to know. Lauren, then I will read your comments and questions now. Lauren says, thank you. I think people are still getting mixed up with them doing public events. Yeah, public and private are very, very different. That was most definitely a private appointment that they were going to. Sean says, I'm so happy the media won't get any access to their future second baby. There will be no photo ops, which I love, a private pregnancy. As private as you can get with paparazzi around. But yeah, no, there won't be any, expectations like there was when they were working members of the royal family. It will be entirely up to them to decide who gets to see when, what, where, and why. H.M. the King, it's up to them to decide. That's the good thing about their new position. Vivian says, this was a good review, thank you. I mean, like I say, I watched the whole thing, and there was too much. I mean, at the start of my notes, I tried to write down everything that everyone was saying, and I quickly realised that there was so much being said that I couldn't keep up with it. So my only advice would be to go watch it from the start, and watch it to the very end as well. Meghan comes second to last. It was inspirational, it was empowering, it was energizing, and there are some amazing quotes from the other speakers as well as Meghan. Meghan was amazing, but there were also amazing people speaking as well. So give them the time, give them the attention, and go to the official video. That's another one of my points. Go to the official video. Don't go to, I think, the other channels have put a video of Meghan actually speaking. I would say go to the official Girl Up YouTube channel and watch the video. After this is finished, I will go and put a link to the video in the description. So give them the views. They're already at 40,000 plus, so give them the views. They deserve it. They deserve the views. So, Sean says, when do you think they'll launch Archie? Well, I think next year. If you're talking what month of next year, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe spring next year. Maybe. It depends. Oh, thank you. HM the King has found it and posted the link for us. So, yeah, there is the video. So, do go and check that one out. Yeah, that's the one. So, it's at 41,988 right now. Oh no, sorry, that's just Meghan's clip. There is also a full version of the full hour and 40. I'll put both up. So you can go and watch. You can choose which one you want to go see. Right, I'm going to go and find the comments again. There we go. Sorry, I clicked off the screen for a moment. Oh, HM the King's found it as well. Thank you. So I'm going to go now. I hope you enjoyed my review and my advice in sort of how to watch it. So yeah, it was really good. It was really worth watching, and I think a lot of people learned a lot of things from different perspectives, which was great. Thank you, HM the King, who says good chat. So I'm going to go. Oh, by the way, we have 227 people watching. Thank you. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media and also hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. Also, thank you so much to everyone who supports as a channel member. I really do appreciate it. And also thank you to everyone who supports on Patreon as well. So from me in Shropshire, mwah to you all and goodbye.